Hey, what up, though, guys? Hey, in this episode, I want to talk to you a little bit about the fastest way to get ahead. What separates, um, some of the wealthier people in the country from, that person that's just barely scraping by? They all have the same amount of time. They make more money per hour than you. Are they smarter than you? You think they're that much smarter than you? When you look at like how much money you make and divide it into whatever the amount they make, you think they're that many times smarter than you? Probably not. But the way that they actually use, they got ahead like that was they use what's called leverage. You're only given so much time, or you're only given so much money. So in order to get ahead and make yourself wealthier than the average person who's trading their time for money, you have to leverage other people's time and other people's money. Um, One of the richest men to ever live, J. Paul Getty was an oil guy. He said he'd rather have 1% of 100 people's time than use 100% of his own. If you could kind of understand that, you got the kind of the basic one of the basic principles of how to build wealth. So you want to use other people's time, and then the other thing you want to use is leveraging money. You want to use other people's money, which is known as debt. Well, I'll probably lose you right here. Um, I know I was telling this to somebody, they're, in their 60s. I was pretty much telling them like, man, the way now, you get ahead, um, you got to use debt. Most people, when they hear debt, they're like, oh no, credit card debt, bad debt. But the thing is, there's good and there's bad debt. You know, I've actually used credit cards to purchase a property. Like, for real. I've used payday loans. But you have to, when you're using debt, you have to be very calculated with. I'm not telling anybody just go out here be irresponsible, just get all types of debt. You have to pretty much be responsible. Now, all of the risks that I took, they were all calculated. Let me tell you what I mean. One of the ways that I used to get started was, I did a little research. I saw that like all of the real estate, I could probably possibly get for like 5,000, probably put like 10,000 into it or whatever. So I went to my girlfriend, at the time, wife now, but I went to her and I'm like, you know what? You got, some money in your 401k. You're like, yeah, we took the money out of 401k. The payments be like 500, took like 30 out. So I'm like, okay, do we have $500 somewhere else? For my job, I'm going to give you an example of when I was working. Um, you know, I would say, okay, I have $400 left over, a month. So if I was to take out some money and my plan was to pretty much go totally south with the leftover money that I have from my paycheck, I would actually be able to pay that debt myself. But on the upside, like for example, with that 30,000, I knew that I could buy 3 houses and rent each one of them at the time for 650. That's 1950 coming in, almost $2,000, but it only cost me $500 to get it. So it's like, but I had to use a form of debt, which it was debt to me because it was actually not my 403, 401k or whatever. It was hers. So I had to pay it. I had to make sure that every month I had to actually pay it, because it was a debt to me, one that I was willing to accept because I'm like, I saw what the possibilities were, and I saw that, okay, if everything goes south, I'm only out of 500, but if everything goes good, I'm up almost 2 grand. So that's how I looked at it. So that's pretty much like how you look at when you're looking at take calculated risk. If you're looking to actually like make money and get out of the rat race, you have to take calculated risk. You have to use debt. You can sell off a couple of your assets to pay like your debt down, and then your credit's a little bit better. You have less debt. Now they'll be willing to even give you more debt. But now with all of that debt that you've accumulated up until this point, you only had like a certain amount of knowledge. When you're in this game, most people get smarter every day. The smart that you have, that next time when they give you a big lump sum of money, you know how to leverage that and make even more money with it. So, that's pretty much like what you learn from the game, but that actually comes from, you being willing to take a risk and take on debt. So that's what I was raised like, don't go into debt, don't do any of this type of stuff. But that's how you get ahead. You use other people's money. Your amount of money is limited and your time is limited. Okay, so if those two things, which are kind of people trade one for the other. If both of them are limited, it's kind of like you got to figure out, like, what was that Huckleberry Finn or whoever he was, the one that got the guy to paint the fence or whatever for him or whatever. You got to figure out, like, you got to do that multiple times, and one of the ways that does that is real estate, because it's almost like an employee that never calls off, is never sick. It actually just pays you every month, so that's how I looked at it, so. And then even when you investing in real estate, you look at it like, if you got like a loan on it, you like, okay, I got to have, if my loan is like $600 a month, do I have an extra $600 a month just in case something goes wrong with that? If the answer is no, I don't know if that would be a wise risk to take, but if the answer is yes, hey, look at the upside, you know what I'm saying? So just wanted to get on here real quick, try to make my point about the debt situation, but I don't know if I did, because I was talking to this person. It was still like pretty strong, headstrong, like, oh no, but they were like, well, I'm retired, I'm doing okay. Yeah, you're doing retired and doing okay, but if you would have used leverage, you would have been able to retire a lot earlier. You'd have had a lot more of your life to enjoy. Hopefully, it's starting to kind of change your mindset a little bit. Until next time, you guys take care.